I want Vince to go to Golden State, man. Go on, give him a ring, man.
Hold that microwave, man. You sound biased, man. Vince. Oh, you said you want to get a ring?
BC. I want to get him one, man. Hey, look. When San Antonio was on top, Chief, when San Antonio was on top, when they was going head-to-head with Miami every year, nobody was mad at Tracy McGrady for going over there and barely getting any minutes. We just wanted Tracy McGrady to go on and get him one. And then what ended up happening is T-Mac, he retired a year too early because they lost a year, and then he retired, and then they won the next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, let Vince go get one, man. Let Vince go get one, man.
You know what's so funny, man? As I look at a person in the chat, you never mentioned now one of them players going to the Lakers. And because Craig Davis was talking about last night,
I like these players. I wouldn't want to do them to that.
Craig Davis said last night that the Lakers are 8 games out the number 8 spot.
Yeah, man. We still the Lakers is a damn reclamation project, man. We looking to see what we can do in the off season this year and what we can do in the off season next year. Outside of that, man, it is what it is. But some of these, I like a lot of these players, and you look at some of these buyouts. Buyouts are really meant for teams, Chief, who got a chance to do something down the stretch, right? And I kind of agree with Jalen Rose, who feels like the buyout period should probably end the same time as the trade deadline does. That way, you don't have certain teams, to be able to get advantages. Like I said, you picture 2 of these top players that have been bought out going in and joining Cleveland. And you're like, all right, well, they done solidified themselves in the East. Mm-hmm. Or you picture 2 of them, or whatever. I don't know what type of space Boston has right now in their roster, but you picture 1 or 2 of them going and joining the Boston. You're like, all right, well, they can get over the edge. Or you picture a couple of them going and joining Golden State, and you're like, oh, well, that ain't even fair.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true that, man. RC said it's not a given that Golden State will win it all. Houston and OKC will make them sweat. Plus, you know what? I think teams like Boston, who was exposed this past Sunday, man, they don't have enough offense, man. If they're waiting for Gordon to come back, they need to get a little more because they're going to just keep trying to double and bump on Kyrie all day long, man. You know what I'm saying? So, man, like you said, it's not a given because some of these players may not even make it to Golden State, man, because they want to play.
Well, I do not disagree with what RC said, but at the same time, what I'm saying is just because a team makes you sweat doesn't mean, like, you figure a team like Houston, if I'm not mistaken, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, they still got 2 players. As a matter of fact, their 2 best players, their 2 leaders are players that still have to prove themselves in the playoffs, especially when it counts the most. Chris Paul's never been out of the second round of the playoffs. James Harden has been to an NBA Finals, but he's known for shrinking at the least inopportune time. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, where we can sit there and say, yeah, Houston to make them sweat. Yeah, I agree they'll make them sweat, but I don't know in those moments if Houston is ready to be able to get over the hump and dethrone. Like they got to show that they're hungry enough. Well, I know Chris Paul is hungry enough. Right. But James Harden, who is their best player, who is their scoring leader, who is probably should be the MVP thus far in the season. You look at James Harden and you say he still got to prove that he can do it when everything matters the most. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Yeah, they'll make them sweat. And OKC, they're just not deep enough. I don't think they're not deep enough, and I don't think OKC really can score enough points. Okay. You get what I'm saying? Like, when you got Melo and you got Paul George and you got Westbrook, the way they styles mesh together for them to win games, they're not all being dynamic. You know what I'm saying? But when you look on the opposite side, the way Golden State plays and their styles where nobody's really ball dominant. You got a ball dominant you got a ball dominant Russell Westbrook, you got a ball dominant Carmelo Anthony. Right? That's 2 of your top 3 scorers. There's only 24 seconds on the shot clock. When you look at you look at Golden State and you say, well, who's ball dominant? You're like, well, really nobody. The ball moves, and, somebody might have the ball like maybe 6 to 7 seconds at the most. You know what I mean? As opposed to 11 to 12 seconds, somebody has the ball and then you're trying to scamper for a shot when the shot clock is running out. So I just don't think they're deep enough to and then once again, Carmelo's been to a conference finals. That's the furthest he's been. Paul George has been to a conference finals. That's the furthest he's been. And Westbrook has been to a finals. Westbrook is the only one who we can really say out of them three who has proven themselves in the playoffs.
Right.
Like when it really matters. I mean, we can't say that. We really can't say that about Carmelo. Carmelo definitely is a closer, so we can't say that about Carmelo. But the fact is, he's never been in the finals. So you look at Golden State. I don't know, bro. I don't know. What you think?
I got. I'm gonna let you know in a minute, but I got two people shooting something at you. She said all good points. And speaking of moments, Draymond and KD better tone down the technical foul. I was going to speak on that because they lead the league in technical fouls, Golden State. We all remember what happened 2 years ago against Cleveland, right? Angry Black Man said he just lost credibility. He talking about you, saying OKC can't score. They have lit up Golden State twice. He must not have TNT.
All right, so let me address Angry Black Man first. Let me address him first. First of all, Chief, these games that go on in the regular season, when we say Boston is going up against Cleveland, who does this game mean more to, Boston or Cleveland?
Boston.
All right, when we say Golden State is going up against Houston in the regular season, who does that game mean more to, Golden State or Houston?
Houston, definitely, man.
All right, and you can substitute OKC where Houston is. They don't have to prove that they can beat them. It's OKC that has to prove. Remember, OKC is a team that was up 3-1 and ended up losing 4-3. So they still got to prove that they can beat Golden State in a series. So just because you can lose a game or just because in the regular season, these teams get you see freaking LeBron and them go out there and lose to teams like Orlando, putting up 140-something points on them, but then they go play a team like Boston, or they go play a team like Milwaukee or Washington, and they'll beat them. You know what I'm saying? Like, to make statements. So, but realistically speaking, man, these games don't mean much to the Warriors, and I hear what everybody's saying, and I'm not discounting it, but I mean, James Harden got to prove himself. Like, there's too much firepower on the Warriors to say where even if two of those guys are having an off night, you enough from the other two, and in the supporting cast. You got Nick Young coming off the bench, man, who can come out there and give you 5 threes in maybe, I don't know, 18 minutes.
Right. Buster said Melo is starting to get it, not being dominant. I guess he's saying
Melo's definitely learned a different role. I could really say in the past, I would say about 15 games. Melo's learned how to accept a different role, and it's been working for them. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, man, look, when the chips are on the line and the games are close and it's in a playoff series, does Melo turn back into give me the ball, I'm gonna take you there? And Russ is, like we don't know this.
Right.
We don't know. We already know what Golden State is going to do. Either they're going to make or they're going to miss. Well, we know they're going to put it up and they're going to run. You know what I'm saying? But we don't know what OKC is going to do in these situations. The same way we don't know what Houston is going to do in these situations. The same way as of right now, we don't know what Cleveland's going to do, being the fact that they got a whole brand new team in these situations.
Right. Wow. I mean, that's big, man. But I'm going to mention one more team, man. And I seen them play the other night, man. How you feel about Indiana Pacers?
They're playing some good ball, man. Look at Oladipo.
Everybody gave up on him, man. Imagine if he was playing like this. Imagine if he was playing like this and was still on OKC.
You know what's crazy is, Chief? I think certain stars can't play with certain stars. The same way how, like, lately they've been trying to say about LeBron, does he make everybody around him better? Truth of the matter is, when you're a star or a borderline superstar, because you're playing with LeBron, your game is going to definitely have to take a back seat, especially if you're a ball-dominant player like he is. Your game is going to take a little bit of a back seat. You're going to have to conform your game. If you're a younger player and you're playing around LeBron, you're happy to be around greatness. So whatever he say, you like, all right, cool, because I know I'm not on a team that's going to be sorry. I know I'm going to be on a team that's going to be playing deep in April and in May and probably in June, as opposed to somebody like a Derrick Rose playing with LeBron. He's like, yo, dude, I've been MVP before. We went head-to-head in the Eastern Conference, playoffs and all that stuff. I've been your rival a couple times, or what they wanted to label as rivals. So yeah, I'm not just going to do whatever you say. And you got an IT who's like, man, I led my team to the number one seed, in a conference that your team played into just last year. I was a top 5 MVP, and I ain't just gonna sit there and do whatever whatever you say. So, and you look at somebody like a Chris Bosh had to take a back seat. Somebody like Kevin Love. These type of players take back seats and really just don't speak about it. They just do whatever they got to do. Kevin Love take a lot of slack. Chris Bosh took a lot of slack. But they weren't guys who you ever had to hear, they were canceling the locker rooms and nothing like that. Right. But you look at somebody like Kyrie as a superstar in this league. You look at somebody like Kyrie like, I got to get away from this dude.
All right.
I don't care what y'all do. I'll go get surgery. What player do you know in sports history that would elect to get cut open instead of going and playing with somebody?
Okay. Well, I got 2 more basketball questions, but Angry Black Man said Indiana won't make it out of the first round. I'll take any bet.
I agree.
You think so?
I agree with that. Yeah, man.
What place they in now? What place are they now?
Huh?
What place are they now?
I don't even know what place they're in now, but when it comes down to the playoffs, man, I don't think they make it out of the first round. Like if you look at Indiana and where they are, and from where you thought they would have been after losing Paul George, you say we get to the playoffs, we had a successful season. It doesn't matter. The fans are going to cheer. They're going to stand up. They're going to say thank you guys for giving us a good season. We thought all hope was lost once we lost our best player, and it's not. So but I'm just happy to be. You look at Toronto. You remember when Toronto played? Who was it? Who they played? Was it Miami or Cleveland? When it was Cleveland, they played Cleveland a couple of years ago in the conference finals, and they got smoked. And the fans was damn near just as happy as they would have been if they would have won. Because it's like this is our first time being. We just happy to be here.
Oh, okay. Tiffany Sports and Hills said Pacers won't make it out the first round. She said, correct, Jay Fish. The fans are just happy they are not a bust after losing Paul George. I think they got a good team. Due to the fact, the reason I think they got a good team, Stevenson, man. Stevenson is playing expired ball. And playoff time, he gets a little more amped and hyped. And then you got Obadipo, right? That's how his name is said, right? He's playing the best ball ever in his career in the NBA.
Correct.
And they got a big man that can shoot a jumper, man, and block shots and hit the boards. So, I mean, you can't really say that they won't make it out the first round. I may have to take that bet. I'm going to have to see who they playing, and I may have to take that bet. So, Black Man, don't forget you put that challenge up there, because I may have to take that bet from you, man. And that's real, man. So,
that's a bad bet. But Chief, outside of Lance Stevenson, like, really, where's the rest of the playoff experience?
Well, I don't know their whole roster. I would have to look at their roster and see, man. They got to have something out there on the bench that come in the game that has some type of player. But then you got to look at this. A lot of times it ain't about the experience. It's about what happened when you get out in any given series. If your team got more pumped up feelings and can outrun you and have you dragging your tongue up and down the court, they may just surprise you, man.
Yeah, you're right. Styles make fights, and everything is about matchup. So you definitely right. So I mean, they could come out there and surprise somebody, but I mean, it ain't the 5-game format no more. You know what I'm saying? So You know, it's kind of harder to say, okay, you know, when you got one team that's got to look at you and prepare for you for 7 games potentially, you get a different game than when you're seeing them